And so let us fill our boots once more. Here comes the Premier League.
The stars are aligning again.
The Premier League leadership is at hand. This could be quite something.
And a few old faces have returned home.
What a finish! Oh, wow! What a hit!
Oh, it's absolutely magnificent!
We just wait for the drama to unwind.
That is a gem!
There's something happening here again! Oh, that is outstanding!
And on the opening day, it's champion against champion. Another Premier League season starts with newly promoted Fulham at home to Arsenal. West Brom's return to the top flight begins against Leicester, while the two Manchester clubs have been given an extra week to recover after extended European campaigns.
Liverpool versus Leeds United, a fixture with a rich Premier League history.
Collymore going to have a crack now. Hasselbaink through, and Hasselbaink scores! He's met at the back post, and Rio Ferdinand scores. Risa. Owen!
And now both clubs are riding high after seasons of spectacular success. Liverpool won the Premier League for the first time, defending champions determined to reign supreme.
We obviously showed that we were last year able to go for it. We did it the year before as well. That doesn't mean we will be this year, because it's just not. We don't take these things for granted. But the titles out there, we attack them. Not only the one, but because that's how I understand it.
For promoted Leeds, an opening day trip to Anfield could seem harsh, but instead it seems fitting because they too are champions. It's taken 16 years and some dark times for the Yorkshire club, but Marcelo Bielsa's guided them back.
It just feels a really big game. Obviously, you've got the Klopp versus Bielsa element to it as well. You know, two very similar managers, two managers that are not just respected by the supporters related to the team they support, they're respected by the whole football world. Hopefully we can catch Liverpool cold. Who knows? But it's a kind of a free hit for us. You know, I don't think anyone expects us to go there and get a result. I think the main thing is we just go there and show what we're about, you know, and try and continue that for the next 37 games afterwards.
Bielsa's fascinating. It's very, very hard to know what he's going to do. He's so idiosyncratic in his thought process. What we do know is last season he preferred a 4-1-4-1. So I think more often than not that will be the base formation, but there'll always be little tweaks in that. Against Liverpool, I think there is at least a chance he'll go in with a back three. They've brought in Robin Koch from Freiburg, and so I think a lot depends on how well he settles. Luke Ayling plays right back, will probably play on the right side of the three, Liam Cooper the captain on the left side of the three. I think the most important player in the whole of the Leeds side is Calvin Phillips. It's partly because obviously he's right at the heart of it, being the defensive midfielder, but he's the player who everything revolves around tactically as well as positionally. I think this is one of the most exciting things happening in English football for ages, to get Bielsa here, to see him close up. This is the Premier League. We're seeing how he copes with a form of football that's very, very different to what he knew in Argentina or Mexico or France or Spain or Italy. There's a great line from Mattis Klich just after Bielsa had arrived when he said, we do three things in training: tactics, tactics, tactics and fitness. Bielsa's not looking in a player for what other managers may look for. What he wants is players who understand what he wants them to do, who take on board the systems he instills, but who then also have the tactical intelligence and the confidence to be able to extemporise upon that. So Pablo Hernandez is sort of the perfect attacking midfielder slash forward for Bielsa.
We know it's very difficult to take points from Liverpool, but I think we show in the pitch the last year that this team can compete against everybody, and we need to show in the pitch the same in the next game.
Bielsa's become a hero in Leeds, so fans will be delighted that he's signed a new one-year deal with the club.
The club, the fans, the players They all deserve to be playing in the Premier League. It's the best league in the world. And it always requires you to play at the highest level.
The Premier League champions have some injury worries. Captain Jordan Henderson may miss out, while Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is still recovering from his latest setback. But Trent Alexander-Arnold played for England in midweek after a disrupted pre-season. And it's a similar story for Leeds key man Calvin Phillips, who returned from a knee injury to make his international debut.
I think given the attacking instincts of both these managers, given the verticality with which both look to play, I think the probability is there'll be goals. Liverpool obviously are favourites, so they're the champions. Leeds have just come up, they're finding their feet. You look at the players, you know, if you compare goalkeeper to goalkeeper, right back to right back, left back to left back, Liverpool are better in every position. But the beauty of this Leeds, as to an extent of this Liverpool, is that the collective is their strength. And Leeds absolutely have a chance.
Primed for part 2, Jose Mourinho is about to start a first full season with Tottenham. And when Spurs appointed the Portuguese, he said they could win the league in 2021. But what's a realistic expectation?
Mourinho will know that this is a very different job to the last couple of jobs he's done. It was interesting hearing him in his very first press conference in charge of Tottenham talking about how he was making parallels with his job at Porto, because that was the last job that he'd taken over mid-season, which makes it a very different challenge. And I know people will focus on the tactics, but with Mourinho, it's not just about the tactics. It's about that atmosphere that he creates and to create that relationship of trust and to work out which players can be on board with that and who can really be trusted. I think that takes time.
I want to win a trophy, and the team, the club, we want to win trophy, and we really think that is possible, and that's what Mourinho is trying to put in our mind.
I think Tottenham's signings are what they need rather than necessarily players to excite. I think you look at those signings and it's about building a team around the flair players that are already there. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is a great example of that, someone who understands that it is about teamwork, that it is about selflessness, that it is about sacrifice. And Højbjerg feels like the right sort of signing for Spurs and the right sort of signing for Mourinho's Spurs, and I think that's the right direction for them to go.
I always felt that the team needed to add a few personalities. When I say personality, I say directly related to the way they play football, the way they belong in a working group.
Meanwhile, Carlo Ancelotti's been busy. James Rodriguez, Alan and Abdoulaye Doucouré have arrived as Ancelotti remoulds Everton into a potential European contender again.
I looked at Everton last season and I thought the last thing that they really need is to go out and buy more players. With that said, there are certain opportunities in the market that you have to take, and there are certain opportunities in the market that are only really afforded to you by having a coach like Carlo Ancelotti. If you look at them getting in Alan and James Rodriguez, that never happens if Ancelotti isn't there. We want Everton to play front foot football, and you can tell that from the sort of players that he's bought. But I think he's very, very good, even with so much experience, in being open to changing his mind, especially with a new squad. That will work very well for Everton.
I've seen that there's a lot of quality. There are players that have great technique. So that's good for what we want to achieve. I see that there are good things happening. And I see that there's a future for what the club wants to achieve.
We are working to have a good season. We would like to be competitive in all the competition, and I think with these players, the squad has improved, and I think we are going to compete.
I think it's more important for Spurs in this first game than it is for Everton. I think with Everton there will be a bit of understanding, a bit of patience, because we don't know if Alan and James are going to go straight into the team. They're obviously going to need time to adapt. Whereas with Spurs, there's less flux, there's less change there. So people will expect Mourinho to have been working hard with his players in what little of summer there has been, and to get themselves in a position where they're ready to go at it from the get-go, because the situation demands it, because Mourinho demands it, and because people demand it of Mourinho.
The Premier League flag's flying again at the Hawthorns, but West Brom might be feeling as much trepidation as triumph. Slaven Bilic's Baggies were promoted automatically from the Championship. That's the positive. The worry is that they wilted under the pressure toward the end, hardly sprinting over the finish line. Just 33 points from their final 23 fixtures, and they failed to win any of their last 4 matches. The permanent acquisition of Matheus Pereira and the signing of Grady Diangana from West Ham should liven up the squad, while they could also benefit from retaining the core of their promotion-winning side.
We are buzzing for it, and it's going to be difficult, but you know, we need to show how good we are individually and as a team, and you know, we've got a good manager who believes in us, and hopefully we can repay that on the pitch. It's going to be difficult, you know. There's so many good teams in the Premier League, and you know, hopefully we can get in the mix of that, and we can stay up.
Leicester will be looking upwards, hoping to build on last term's 5th place finish. In seasons past, that would have seemed an achievement, but there's little doubt an opportunity was missed. The Foxes slipped from 3rd to 5th with just 2 wins in 9 after the restart. However, disappointment can fuel determination, and Brendan Rodgers will aim to start with a bang against the Baggies. Leicester have claimed victory on their last 4 trips to the Hawthorns, scoring 11 goals in the process, with Jamie Vardy on target every time.
There's a saying that those who have knowledge don't predict, and those who predict don't have knowledge. You won't find many tipping Sheffield United to be relegated again, but it's still not straightforward. On a quest to work out how they can stay strong, Chris Wilder's brought Aaron Ramsdale back to the club from Bournemouth after long-term loanee Dean Henderson returned to Manchester United. It's only been just over 2 months since the Blades beat Wolves at Bramall Lane, so an early reunion after John Egan's late winner.
We've got a really important 3 days now in preparation. We've got to get that right and hopefully hit the ground running, because the start is so important. We got off to a fabulous start last year, 4 points out of our first 2 games, and obviously that gave us a foothold in the division really early on, and it's important that we make, or try to make, the same start.
Wolves' last campaign was over a year in the making, but there'll be no excess baggage with trips abroad this season. They still spent big on another export from Portugal, though. Teenager Fabio Silva is a club record signing from Porto. And Silva's arrival at the Old Gold will supplement the brilliance of Raul Jimenez. 27 goals in all competitions last year, so even if he isn't seen in European competition, you know Europe will be watching him. Fulham are back amongst the elite. Still to come, analysis of their opening day engagement with Arsenal.
Changes are in the air at Chelsea. The Blues have been in transition and clearly making strides under Frank Lampard, but the progress seems to have accelerated this summer. The young head coach, whose side arguably overachieved last season in finishing 4th, has had a campaign to work out what was required. And over the past weeks, the club has managed to recruit some of the most highly regarded talent in Europe.
Generally, you would normally have a 4 to 6 week pre-season where you can work on team shape and team patterns and these things. So we're going to have a real condensed period of that, and it may take a bit of time in the beginning to try and get to where we want to be. It's going to take a lot of work. Otherwise, everybody would do it. You'd throw money at things and it would just work. It's not the case. We're at the start of that process now, and I understand that thoroughly. So I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm not trying to buy too much time. I expect a lot of the group already, but at the same time, I know that there is a period now where we need to try and hit the ground running, and if we can do that quickly, then I'll be really excited.
Chelsea have already spent more than in any previous summer window. Hakim Ziyech, known as the Wizard of Amsterdam at Ajax, was first through the door. Timo Werner, a regular in the German national team, scored 28 times in 34 league appearances last season. Ben Chilwell has been backed by Lampard to be the best left-back for the club since Ashley Cole. Veteran Thiago Silva should help shore up the leaky defence. And Kai Havertz, the 21-year-old German midfielder wanted by many but wooed by a coach he idolised as a player.
He had a big impact on my decision because I loved him as a player and watched him very often, and I think I can learn from him as a manager as well, and I think he's a very humble person, a very great guy, and can't wait to play with him and learn from him.
Brighton too have been building ahead of their 4th season in the Premier League. New boy Adam Lallana is fit to face Chelsea, having already featured against the Blues when the sides met in a friendly. Highly rated right-back Tariq Lamptey, signed in January, could face his former club. The Seagulls drew this fixture last season, but may be slightly wary, having won only one of their home games after the restart.
We're all fit, round to go, and there's only a short break, so we've had a short pre-season, but we didn't lose too much fitness. We've had a full season under this new gaffer, and his ways are unbelievable, his coaching, his man management, so all the boys are enjoying it and love him as a gaffer.
Chelsea conceded 38 away league goals last season. Not even relegated Norwich shipped more. Yes, they've reinforced, but new players take time to bed in, so Brighton will hope to take another point at least from their visitors.
They finished in the top 4, justifiably, and Champions League squad and team, and then they've added to that with some fantastic players, so they're going to be a real force this year, I think. But that's the challenge. You have to play these teams at some point, and we played Chelsea at home in the first game, and we're looking forward to testing ourselves against what will be one of the best teams in the league.
Of course we want to start well, but we have to respect Brighton and know the good team that they are. We're going away from home to their stadium. Expectations to deliver are always there, and the club is so big that there'll always be pressures. I thrive off those pressures and I enjoy them, and I understand the different nature of the pressure coming this year. It's what I love doing.
Lampard's lavish expenditure has raised expectations in the watching football world. Whether the Seagulls spring a surprise or the Blues hit the high notes, there'll be a tale to tell at the Amex. But be assured, Chelsea head to Brighton eager to launch their new-look side with a Premier League win.
A revealing week in the North East. 3 new signings for Steve Bruce, and all of them returning to the Premier League. Jamal Lewis has joined from Norwich for a fee that could rise to £20 million. Winger Ryan Fraser didn't cost a penny from Bournemouth, while his former Cherries teammate Callum Wilson's also in. They love their strikers in Newcastle, so could this be the start of a special relationship?
As a player who didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve last year, I feel I had to sort of, try and engage and see what kind of players were going to be around me and things like that, and can help. I can help them and they can help me, and we can complement each other.
Not so much movement at West Ham. A permanent deal for Thomas Souček is the only piece of business for David Moyes so far. The Hammers aren't short of talent though, with several key players coming to the fore when the club needed them most in the closing weeks of last season. A strong finish meant West Ham didn't feel the squeeze on the final day, but they've not won on the first weekend of the season for 4 consecutive campaigns.
New season, clean slate. Exactly what Crystal Palace need after losing 7 on the bounce towards the end of the last campaign. They had been on target for their best finish in the Premier League, but ended up 14th. So time to try again. Eberechi Eze, signed from QPR, should add another dimension to their attack. Wilfried Zaha, who contributed just 4 goals last season, is nonetheless again the subject of transfer speculation. With the window open until October the 5th, Roy Hodgson faces an uncertain month. Visitors Southampton was superb after the restart and will seek to maintain that standard. One of the breakout summer stars was Kyle Walker-Peters, who's now keen to push on.
I'm excited. Obviously I came here on loan in January, but post-lockdown I really kicked on, and we did really well as a team. We went 7 games unbeaten, so I'm just really excited to hopefully continue that form.
Selhurst Park is usually one of the league's loudest grounds, but of course the vibrant atmosphere created by passionate fans will be missing. Still, Saints supporters on their sofas will have high hopes for their team's trip to South London. Southampton have won their last 3 visits, most recently in January, one of last season's impressive total of 9 away victories.
A new chapter for Fulham in the Premier League, and it's a book with plenty of pages. A Londoner was tasked with rewriting history, and the Cottage has become the home of confidence again. But just how do they hang on to such a precious commodity?
It's been a funny old 12 months, I think. We were expecting this squad to storm the Championship, considering it had Mitrovic, Knockaert, Cavallero, Kearney, and it didn't happen. It never really ignited, if you will. What it did was became a team that worked out how to grind out results, and a team that didn't lose when it went ahead. So Parker, I think, went ahead 23 times during the Championship season, and we won 22 of them. This team is one that's a lot more world-wise than the last Fulham team that came up to the Premier League, where we thought we were going to swashbuckle our way through everyone and finish 13th. And I think this time it's an acceptance that we're going to be in a relegation scrap. We're going to have to fight for survival, but this is a team potentially more equipped to do so.
We expected, maybe could expect a little bit too much last time. We spent over 100 million, and I remember, I think we just maybe got a little bit ahead of ourselves, talked about all these things that could happen in the future. And like I said, football in the Premier League, it's a nasty place sometimes, and we found out that.
Scott Parker spoke a lot at the end of this year about the fact that he had to turn around a very dispirited dressing room. I think there's a lot more we can do this if we stick together, if we build a kind of team that's based more in Scott Parker's image. And you know, remember Parker as a player, he was very much a tough tackling, no nonsense midfielder. He's a rookie manager. He's going to make mistakes. I think what we've really enjoyed from Parker this season is that he seems to have learned from the mistakes that he's made, and from game to game seems to address the challenges.
We need to keep progressing in that. We need to keep going the right way, have an understanding about where we are, of course, but as well, I think not taking our eye off what will be a huge success this year is to stay in this division. We're in a league where every week we're going to be up against some top teams, best players arguably in the world, and they come no bigger at times than what we're going to face on Saturday, really. So, look, we need to embrace the challenge what we're up against come Saturday, and we are looking forward to that, and we'll see where we go from there, really.
Arsenal's last 2 matches have brought them trophies, so even their lowest league finish in 25 years hasn't stifled the feeling of progression under first-team manager Mikel Arteta. Captain Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's intentions to stay with the club are testament to that, and his presence could be a determining factor in the Gunners' attempts to reclaim a top 6 place.
What we've done in the past few months in football, it doesn't really count. It's about tomorrow, how we start, how ready we look, how committed we are, and how much can we sustain our consistency through the year to be one of the best teams in this country.
I think that Fulham will look at this as a challenge, and I think the last time we played Arsenal at the Cottage, we got taken apart, and it was one of those games you looked at and you thought, I don't think we're good enough, I don't think we're cut out quite for this level. We're all aware that it's not going to be an easy season, we're all aware that we're going to be in a fight for survival, but I think there's a lot of belief in Scott Parker, there's a lot of belief that the squad is starting to adapt to a side that might be able to scrap a little bit more, to fight a little bit more, and to edge out gritty wins and draws.
The Premier League's first game of the new season promises plenty, and for the capital's oldest club, their latest top-flight rebuild starts here.
The 2 Manchester clubs start their campaigns next week due to their involvement in European competition in mid-August. 2 promoted sides play on Saturday. Fulham host Arsenal and Leeds head to Liverpool. West Brom face Leicester on Sunday. Craven Cottage, Elland Road and the Hawthorns hosting top-flight football once again. Whether it's been more than a decade or just a few years since these clubs last featured amongst England's elite, the pressure and prestige of the Premier League promises to test to the utmost these players and their coaches, however illustrious they may be. Pay attention. The battle's about to commence. From Chris Wise, me, Izzy Clark, and the rest of the team, goodbye.